If you run an e-commerce store of any kind, you know just how tricky it can be to set the perfect price for your products. Price too high and customers might walk away, but price too low and, well, your profit could take a hit. This is where repricing software swoops in to save the day. No matter the platform that you're selling on, it is imperative. And for a while in the beginning, I personally manually repriced everything on most of the sites that I sold on, which took a lot of time. Eventually, I was able to actually outsource the repricing to a virtual assistant, but then I was spending a lot of money in comparison to a software every month, paying them to check inventory levels on my supplier sites, check and adjust the prices on products, which was a waste of time and a lot of money to say the least. Especially because I wasn't even aware at the time that there was a much more efficient and cost-effective solution out there. Obviously, if you sell on any of these sites and you're not repricing your items at all, then you're leaving tons of sales and profit on the table. You need to be, you won't be able to compete without doing it. But if you're still doing it manually yourself, or if you have a VA doing it for you, you might want to look into a smart software that can do all the heavy lifting for you cheaply in seconds. And this is where FlashPricer comes in. It's a game-changing repricing software designed to simplify your e-commerce business while giving you back much of your needed time so you can focus on scaling your business and working on it, not in it. The best thing that I did to scale my own e-com business in the past few years was to start outsourcing to both virtual assistants and to software tools that now run the majority of my business for me. A lot of times better than I would anyway, so then I can focus on improving some of my systems, research and development, and constantly learning where my competitors are succeeding where I might not be as much. And essentially allowing me to buy back a lot of my time to spend with my son. He's still under a year old and I'm not going to be able to relive some of these important milestones and moments. And the last thing that I personally want to do is to work my life away doing something that I could have outsourced to a software program anyway, especially one that can do a better job than I can too. Now, I love FlashPricer because it can be your all-in-one repricing solution for all of these platforms, and it even plays nice with your other e-commerce tools as well, which means you don't have to adjust anything that's already working for you and it won't interfere with anything else that you've already set up. Once you integrate it, you can seamlessly pull in costs from various sources, making automated pricing wherever you sell a breeze. Now, this tool works on all the sites that I've referenced, but if you watched any of my other videos, you'll know that I drop ship heavily on Amazon. So if you're a drop shipper, this can help integrate with your store immediately, make you a lot more money than the free repricer that comes in Seller Central already, which is what I used to recommend for a lot of beginners. To set up and use FlashPricer, it's pretty easy compared to a lot of others that I've seen. It's extremely straightforward and easy. Once you connect your store, you can either choose to reprice the beat the buy box currently based on all the factors that actually go into getting the buy box, right? So like price, availability to the customer, seller history and ratings, etc. And FlashPricer's algorithm is constantly running all those factors for you against all those other factors for all the other competitors that are selling on these listings too. That way it ensures that your price is always the highest that it could possibly be while you're still making sales, ultimately netting you more money and increasing your margins in the process. But one thing that's really cool that I've noticed is that it also comes with the ability to notice when competitors go out of stock, and then you have a greater opportunity to, at that point, raise your price on the listing, which leads to even more money in your pocket. It's a game changer. And this happens frequently on dropshipping listings, especially so. Using something with this feature is an absolute game changer. But it's not just for dropshippers like me. It also has repricing strategies for wholesale sellers, private label sellers, and online arbitrage sellers and retail arbitrage sellers as well. So here's what it looks like when you're setting your listings up and repricing them. Now, like most repricers, it lets you set a minimum and a maximum price that you're comfortable repricing it to. So for example, if you know your break-even price is $24 on a specific product, well, you can set your minimum price to $24 and it will never go lower than that. So you make sure that you don't reprice yourself out of any profit, and that cost of goods would obviously just go into the cost column when you're setting your listings up. That way you still know how profitable they are based on the current buy box price that it reprices to. Now on each listing, you can also choose normal repricing strategies like match the lowest price or match the buy box price, or even use the smart pricing algorithms that FlashPricer employs based on the current factors that I've outlined before to compete for the buy box at the best price that you can. It's not always the exact same as your competitors that are on the listing. Furthermore, you can see that you also have the option to ignore Amazon as a competitor, to ignore non-buy box eligible competitors, to ignore competitors with lower feedback scores, and to ignore competitors with longer handling times as well. So it really gives you a ton of options. Now, when moving on to repricing rules, you can set the specific strategy when competing with Amazon, so when competing with FBA sellers as well, and also when you're competing with specific sellers if for whatever reason you solely want to focus on the repricing strategy of a competitor and outbid them, and you're not worried about other sellers that are on the listing, or even when there's no sellers at all. Now, you can set specific rules for each of these, which gives you the ultimate personalization power for every single one of your listings. But yet another really cool part of this repricer is that if you're selling on multiple marketplaces, like I'm sure a lot of you are, I am as well, it lets you set up rules and repricing strategies for all of them, right? So for instance, if you had products that were listed on Amazon and Walmart and Facebook Shop all at the same time, you could then be selling and repricing those specific products based on multiple different factors on each. So it doesn't just apply like a blanket rule. It really allows you to personalize a lot no matter where you're selling. FlashPricer is the ultimate solution for online sellers that are looking to maximize their profitability with less time spent. This really takes the guesswork out of your pricing. It ensures that you never lose money on a sale or ever run out of stock again, which is always a headache, because your prices shouldn't hold you back. They should be what helps sell your products. And with FlashPricer, you can make that happen. Now, if you'd like to try this repricer completely free, you can do so through the first link in the description. Remember, if you're not using one at all, then you're really competing with one hand tied behind your back. And if you're doing it yourself manually, like I'm getting flashbacks right now of remembering like when I used to do it, you're wasting tons of time and tons of effort that you could be using to improve and scale your business.